Recording in progress.
Hey everybody, Mega Ruler 31 back here for FSIDFS. Be covering NASCAR Duels today, and TK will be joining me. We're not going to go too much into the car change and stuff like that. Just want to kind of share the spreadsheet and bang out some of my thoughts just to get you going. I know it's going to be a short time period before they start tonight, but look back at this channel for the rest of the week because we are going to have a ton of different content for you to try to help you out. We'll go over the cars, we'll go over trucks, Xfinity, Daytona 500 as much as we can. Some of them you're going to have qualifying shortly before the race, so there might not be enough time to get a video in. But we might do just a preview of who we like in general. And then if there's time, maybe do something really flash one just to kind of get you up and going. So if you want to get all our content, if you look at the bottom of the screen left there, it says sign up for free. We have a free promotion for you for the month of February. There's a free coupon code that you can use to sign up for a week of FSI DFS NASCAR package. And you will get all our content there. You can use it twice this month, and it's going to be good till the 27th. So it should cover a couple races for you. So let's just dive right into this. It's been a while since I've done a video. So if video or sound or anything's off, just leave in the comments below. I'll try to tweak it, had to rip down the setup and then reset up things. So here we go. So looking at this race, it's only 60 laps. So you're not going to have a lot of fast laps. You're going to have a lot of laps led. So place differential is going to be the key. Most of the people that always say plate races, Daytona, stack to back, stack to back, stack to back. You can do that. It has been successful, but I think that you're really not going to have the optimal lineup if you try that. So let me break it down to you. I'm going to talk about DK, and then at the end, I'll spend a little bit of time on FanDuel. So starting on the pole is Kyle Larson, and you definitely want to fade him because he's already locked in. There's two duels if you're not familiar with NASCAR, and the pole in the inside pole position, places 1 and 2 are based on qualifying speed. So no matter what happens to Kyle Larson here, doesn't matter, he's in. Then the rest of these guys are racing for positions. You have one more car in each one that's going to make it in, and the two cars in yellow, which would be Kaz Grala and JJ Yaley in this one, are the ones that are in the bubble, and they have to finish the best out of those two drivers. It's almost like a head-to-head here, are going to make the 500. The other one goes home. So Kyle Larson, going to fade him because he's going to protect the car. He's going to maybe see what he's got, maybe lead a little bit in the beginning, but pretty much the name of the game is protect the car. Just get ready for Sunday, learn a little bit, play around some drafts, but keep it safe, play it safe. You don't need to do anything here, prove anything here. William Byron, again, he was, and Chase Elliott, I think they're in the same boat here. These Hendricks cars were set up for qualifying. They were very fast in qualifying, but they're not set up for the race. I think, and honestly, in the Daytona 500, it doesn't really matter where you start because if you have good cars and good teams and get together with people, but you don't want to be in the back for a long period of time because that's where some of the less experienced drivers and things are. However, there are some guys that like to ride around the back and wait till the end of the race and maybe challenge for some stage points and then fall back and then challenge for some stage points and fall back and things like that. So there's all kinds of different strategies, but I don't think it's as crucial as like on a short track where it's very hard to pass. That positioning is like super important. So William Byron, I believe, wrecked his car last year in the duels, and I don't think he wants to go to the backup car. I think he and Elliott really like what they have. So I think the GPPs, they could do really well. They could try to win this one to try to get into the second row there. They should have good speed. We don't know how long good long run speed is going to be because they were set up for qualifying more than an actual 60 lap race here. So I think you can play them, but I'm not really looking at them. Ross Chastain, I'm fading here. I think he's starting too close to the front. Trackhouse cars were pretty fast. Alex Suarez better than him in a GPP. Chastain just tends to be a very, very risky, aggressive driver, and he's gotten better over the course of last year, but I still think that he might make a risky move and either cause a crash or get caught up in a crash, so I'm kind of out on him. Dan Rohenrich, I really like. He was the one last year that won me a ton of money at the end of the year because I was saying for like the last 5 weeks of the season that the stars were going to align. He was going to get his first win and win the title all in Phoenix. And it was in a very exciting last lap rub that he got across the finish line first. And my his destiny was complete and my bank account dreams came true. It was very nice. I still think he's good. I think he's fast. I really like this colleague program. I think he can be a cash play here. I'm not saying he's like a primary play. Ryan Blaney, I absolutely love. I think he's been fast. I think the Fords have been good here. I think some of the Fords will work together. So he, Keselowski, Briscoe, Cindric, maybe in Cole Custer will work and get together and could go out there and pretty much be a strong pack that's hard to break up and do really well and hopefully stay out of trouble and not wreck each other because even though Keselowski and Blaney aren't teammates anymore, I think they've worked together long enough. And I know there was some bad blood with Penske and everything, but I think, it's a new year and you got to kind of work together with people here. So I think that they should be fine. I think they're two very, very solid plays. Sandwiched in between them would be Tyler Reddick. I think he's an awesome GPP play. I don't really know how he's going to fare. Richard Childress cars have been decent on speedways. Austin Dillon and him have done well. I think Dillon only has one car there, so I don't know if Reddick does also. So maybe that makes me a little bit more concerned about him because if they only brought one car to the track, then they really have to be careful with it because they don't want to wreck it because they have to spend time trying to get a backup car there or figure something out. So I'm not positive that. I know Dillon said he only has one, so I'm assuming that Reddick, being his teammate, might only have one also. He more of a high line driver, not necessarily his type of track. Like I really like him at like wall riding tracks, but I think he could do decent here and maybe be pretty sneaky for GPP. So again, I like Keselowski. I really like Briscoe here. Really said some bad things about him last year. He was very frustrating. It seemed like he came up too fast from Xfinity, but towards the end of the year, he really seemed to have a getter. I really liked what he did in the Clash. We really can't look at the Clash as any actual data for this. That was an exhibition race. They're kind of kicking the tires on the car, the format and everything, and he got wrecked out of it. But I think he showed a lot of promise there. So I think, he's another one to look at. And Cindric also, he in Xfinity was very, very good on these types of tracks. Hopefully it'll translate over to Cup. It's kind of like when you go from like being a college athlete to the NFL, the speed of the game is so much faster. You're up against better competition, but I think, he has run some Cup races last year. So I think he'll do decent. Eric Jones, I'm a fade on. Petty Motorsports. He's talked a lot about protecting his car. I think he might only have one or they have limited resources at Petty. So I think that he's not one. You can play him at GPP, but I'm kind of out on him. Kurt Busch, I think he's a great plate driver. He's on a new team here, but he's the only Toyota in this field. So I don't know. He could like match up with the Fords or pick some partners and try to race with them. But I think he's on an island by his own. So his history makes him a good play, so a GPP, but he's not a cash play for me because I'm just kind of concerned about him being lone man with all these Fords and Chevys out there. Justin Haley, I really like. I'm listing him as a prime play. I was very impressed again with what he was good in Xfinity. He was okay in Xfinity last year. He was horrible in Cup, but he's this Collie racing program is a really good program. He's in a better situation this year. They really have done well in Xfinity, and now they're moving up to the Cup as a team. Cully is, and I think that this is going to be a really decent season for him. So I think starting 14th, there's a lot of place differential. I think he's decent at this type of track, so I could see a top 5 finish. So I'm definitely, going to lock him into my lineups. And Cole Custer also starting back here. Stuart Haas last year, I know with Harvick and Custer and like Briscoe as a rookie, they struggled at times. And I really kept on saying over and over and over again, I think they're not a smaller team, but they're not like a large team like Gibbs or Hendrick with a ton of resources. So I really think last year that they were kind of just looking past last year onto this year. So I don't think they put a ton of resources into their program. I think they went out there to, satisfy their sponsors and their fans, but this is the year that they really were trying to invest in, because with these new cars and everything, I think they really want to make a mark here. And so I think Cole Custer is a solid play here too. I really like Todd Gillian too. He was a very solid truck driver, and now he moves all the way up to Cup. So he's in this front row car is a decent car. It's a Roush Yates tech, so it's not like it's a scrub smaller team. And I think really that it's the same team I believe he was in the Truck Series too. So I think there's some familiarity there, and I think that he definitely can move up from 16th and get some place differential. I like that. Noah Gragson, I'm fading. It was the last one to make it in on time, with also another guy that we're going to talk about in Duel 2. So don't think he's going to push it. He wants to save the car. He's already in the dance. Again, it doesn't really matter where he starts. So I'm not going to be playing him. He might be a GPP dart. He is starting a little bit back in the field, and if he does try to advance his position, but I think the name of the game for him is take care of the car. Same thing with Landon Castle. It's a smaller team too. I think they only have one car. They really don't want to wreck it. They're already locked in. And BJ McLeod, same thing. I think that they want to take care of their cars. Their GPP plays and not fades, because if there is some calamity up with some of these mid-range guys that are trying to, especially when you have Ross Chastain in the field who could take out 5 cars up front, through attrition, they could move up, but I don't know if they're going to have the speed to stay in the draft. It did really seem like, if you watched practice, that 5 or 6 cars could get together, but then if other ones tried to stay with them, the further back cars started to fall off a little bit. So I'm not 100% positive that I really want to play them other than GPP. Kaz Gralla and JJ Yaley are the ones that are going to be fighting to try to make it in to the 500. I really like Kaz Gralla. I think he's got more experience. JJ Yaley has hung around in different series and is very vanilla, and is one at the end of the day that usually puts in a good day's work and does the best he can with the equipment he has. But I think this money team racing with Floyd Mayweather, they have ECR engines, which are decent. So I like that better than the MBM car. So I think Kaz will be the one that's able to advance. I think, he'll get to the point into the middle of the race, and he's got something to race for. Still, Kaz is a GPP, but you can play Yaley as definitely as a GPP play. He can be borderline cash too, because if he finishes last, he doesn't lose you any in place differential points. So it's not a huge deal there. Really like Kaz Gralla, because go back like 2 anyways, but I think he's got more of a chance to move up than Grayson, Castle, or McLeod. So let me just switch my screen here to Duel 2, and we'll talk about that one. Okay, here we have Alex Bowman on the pole. Same thing as Larson. He's not going to compete. He's going to go out there, get a feel for what he can, and just be very, very safe. Eric Marola, I'm not sure. He's been very good at plate races. I think, again, he's going to take care of the car a little bit better. He and Harvick, at least you have teammates here. I know I said like Harvick was in the same group as Custer and those, but I meant that his team, Stuart Haas here, is almost the same as some of the, let's go back to Duel 1 there. Yeah, okay, yeah, they're all Stuart Haas. I didn't think they had that many cars, but so anyways, again, Almirola, I think like Stuart Haas and a couple other teams last year just kind of sandbagged it and really didn't put a not sandbag it because they weren't trying to lose. It's not like NBA or NFL where you get a better draft pick if you don't do as well the previous year. But I really think again they didn't put a lot of investment into last year. And I know Almirola did win one, and he came on, had a pretty good run towards the end. And Harvick actually looked pretty amazing in the playoffs. It was kind of that they kind of waited till that point of the year, like, okay, we made the playoffs, and we had some success. So then they really bought into it and tried to finish strong. So, but going back up to the top, Almirola, he's definitely a wild card here. He could go out, he could really try to win this race. But again, I think he's going to try to reserve the car, especially I'm assuming he was set up a little bit more for speed than for a long run, just how well he did in qualifying. Truex, Hamlin, all these Gibbs cars that are up here, they make great GPP plays. I think Hamlin could be a cash play because he's very good at plate racing. He's had a lot of success at Daytona, so I could see him going out and trying to win this. But then again, little incentive too. Like it doesn't, as long as he starts probably like in the top 10, he's fine. So doesn't really need to push it. Harrison Burton's a GPP here. And if you're, sorry, I should have said this earlier, don't necessarily look at my projection numbers and the X value here. The data I had was I used the 2021 stats, whether it's car or Xfinity, truck, ARCA, like wherever they were racing, and then their track history, and then some of their practice times and qualifying times. But it's not necessarily these projections. I'm going to have to fine tune a lot throughout the first couple of weeks of the season. It's not going to be until probably like mid-March or April that we have like closer projections, just because with new cars and new tracks and new drivers and new teams and new situations, like it's hard to find out what variables are going to be the most important ones and the most accurate ones. So yeah, have to like throw out bad data and figure out what the good data is. So just pretty much look at like the play. That's what you really need to focus on here, because you look at Harrison Burton and he's got the highest score, and it's just based on he had some good practice times. He had some success here. I believe he doesn't have any DNFs. I think he's finished like every single race he's won at Daytona, and my model really takes that into consideration. So I think he's a good GPP play, starting a little bit further forward than I like, but he's one that could actually go out and try to win this. So I definitely like him in GPPs. Joey Logano is probably one of my favorite plays in here. I think he's another strong Penske one. He's an aggressive driver. He could definitely go out and try to win this to try to be the number 3 or number 4 position. When I believe these guys are the evens. So I believe that he would get the number 4 starting position there. Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace. I think I like Bell because I think he's like younger than some of the other Gibbs drivers, and I think he's the one that would push it the most to try to win this, where the other ones would try to be more conservative to save their car. Bubba Wallace, of course, he won Talladega there for but he's always been decent on plate tracks. And I think working with the rest of the Toyotas, I think that they're going to get up front and be hard to pass. And I think one of them at the end might come out if Logano's not out there in front of all of them. Kyle Busch, again, he's always the ultimate GPP play. He's had some practice to dial things in. You never know what he's going to go. He's going to crash or he's going to do very well. So with such a range of outcomes, I always have him as like a GPP. He's usually the first guy on my GPP line because he's so boom or bust. Austin Dillon, usually really good at these tracks. Again, I fear like reading that I think they only have one car there in Florida, so really needs to take care of that. So I don't think he's going to be as aggressive here. Michael McDowell won the 500 last year. It was more of a war of attrition, but he has been decent on these tracks. He's a veteran. He knows how to take care of his car and stuff. So I am his cash plays and some nice place differential. I don't think he's going to win this, but he could end up in the top 5 if he plays his cards right. Ty Dillon, I think the same thing as Eric Jones. They really need to take care of the car. I think they have limited resources. I don't think they have backup cars here. So he's already in. Doesn't really matter where he starts. So I think he'll go out there and learn what he can, but try to stay out of trouble, keep the car clean. Harvick, I absolutely love. He said yesterday the car wasn't set up for qualifying speed, but it was set up for racing, and they had no chance to change the setup on these cars after qualifying. So I think he's set up to go out there and do well here. I could see him go on out there and win it, hooking up with some of the other Fords like Logano, Burton, Almirola, roll out there together, really challenge the Toyotas. You might have 2 lines back to back, like Toyota in one lane and Ford's in the other one, jockeying for position could be quite exciting. I was so down on him last year, but then the playoffs came and he just seemed like he had a renaissance. Not as good as the 2020 season, but he was definitely much better. And I think, again, Stewart-Haas Racing has really put a lot of effort into making this year successful and investing in these new cars. So he's one to look at there. Really like Buescher, great price there. I think he's one that can get up there, and he's had good speed and practice. So, and Stenhouse, I think, is starting way too low here. He didn't have a really good qualifying run, but again, I think he's set up for the long run. He is an aggressive driver. He's a great place driver. He could end up wrecking himself for some other players, but I think that he will be fine here, and he could actually go out here and win this. He's tried to win these duels before, so I think he's definitely a prime play. Cody Ware, and he's one that I think is going to take care of the car. Rick Ware might not have the speed, probably even if he tried to stay with the draft, is going to be further on back. He's not going to be able to hook up with some of these other cars as well. Jacquez Villanueva, this is a cool team. This team is actually Gaunt Brothers from the Truck Series is actually going to help them out with engines and stuff, and it's a really cool team that is going to use him and some other, I think Hasgrala or some other one. It's basically some European drivers that are coming and running some specific races for this one. Greg Biffle, I think he's got a lot of incentive to make this one here. So I think that sorry about that. I had to pause the recording, folks. There's a train that goes by outside our house and it's making too much noise and want to interrupt things. So anyways, I was talking about Biffle, but I want to go back to Jacquez Villanueva. He's a fade too, because he, just like Noah Gragson, is one of the last 2 that made it in on their time. And so they really don't need to risk anything. They are happy starting, wherever they start. Second to last row, they've made the 500. That was their goal, and it's only can go up from there. But Biffle, I think, this New York racing team, they have Richard Childress built the cars, Hendricks built the engines. They are really looking to, I believe it's an all minority owned team that's starting out to, they're going to run select races this year. They're kind of a late entry to he showed up to, practice and enter the 500 late. It really wasn't even on my radar that this team was going to do this, but I think it's awesome. And it looks like they've got some good quality. And Greg Biffle, he hasn't raced since 2016. He did a truck race for Kyle Busch Racing, I think in 19 or 20, and really is once he got back into it a little bit, kind of missed it. So he really wanted to come and help out this team get off the ground. So I think he's a dark horse here. I like him as cash, and I think he can race his way in. I like him better than Timmy Hill. I think he's got much better equipment. And you have David Reagan in between there. He was up in the cup racing for a while, lost his ride and didn't really have too much sponsorship. I see him potentially getting back into this. They're definitely locked in based on last year's owners points and stuff to make it. So he's locked in. But again, I think, with the Rick Ware, even though they've got a bunch of different cars, I think they want to try to keep their cars clean. And I think it's GPP. He can move up a little bit, doesn't have much to lose if he falls back. But like I said, looking at the cars down here, Ware and Reagan, I'm okay with in GPP. I think Biffle is your best bet to move up and actually try to show something over Timmy Hill. And Timmy Hill, like, he's not going to lose you any points if you play him, but I don't think he's really going to gain enough to make a difference. So hopefully that helps you out with the duels. Again, don't spend a ton of money on these. Just play a little bit, some entertainment, just have a fun night. Daytona is just such a unpredictable race that in Talladega we get these place rates and you can have like these major wrecks and stuff. Like, it's not as easy as like some of the other races coming up where it's going to be kind of easier to build cash lineups and stuff. And if you're entering the 150 max, just know with only 21 cars and 6 drivers, there are people out there with like algorithms and computers that are figuring out the top 150 lineups. So it's very hard with a single bullet to go in there and take the top prize. And the other thing too is don't try to use all your money for these races or Daytona. Build the lineup that you feel is the best. And if you're leaving 10 or 20K on the table, that's absolutely fine. In these races, these are not the races where you need to spend all your money or try to use all your money to get the best names possible. You're looking more for the best situations possible here. Guys, some solid guys up top that have some things to prove. Again, we're not going to get many fast lap points here. We're not going to get many laps led. There's only 60 laps in each one, so that really doesn't add up to as much as if you're at a short track where there's 400 or 500 laps. And if you get one guy that goes out there and just dominates, he's just like putting banking points after banking points. That doesn't happen here. Leads change very fast. So I appreciate you watching. If you're playing FanDuel, what you want to do is you want to try to pick the winner from both of them, because FanDuel's combined. It doesn't have Heat 1 and 2. It has both of them. So you want to probably take Logano and then maybe like Harvick or Stenhouse from this one. And then you want to take like Ryan Blaney probably in the other one. Those are probably the solid 2 guys. Unless you think like Hamlin can win this. So you really want to try to get guys close to the top and then a little bit place differential. Just the FanDuel scoring system awards you more for picking the winner. So you want to try to get the 2 guys that are going to do really well in these and potentially win. So again, I said like Logano and Blaney would probably be the ones. And I think Harvick and Stenhouse in this one, and maybe Cole Custer in the other one would be a good one to throw in there. I don't know if that pricing works or whatever. You might need to take somebody that's like further on down. But in FanDuel, like the guys that are further on down are like $3,000-$4,000. And again, if you need to leave money on the table, leave money on the table. So again, I'm Mega Ruler 31. TK Nation will be joining me for, we'll try to do a car breakdown, and we'll try to do like a truck Daytona one, a Xfinity Daytona one, and like the main 500 one. I think Xfinity and the main 500, we actually will have the starting lineups before the race, so that'll be easy to break down. Truck is a couple hours, so we might just do a preview tonight for that, and then maybe I'll do a short video after qualifying tomorrow, since I'm off, to try to see if we can help you out with that. So appreciate you watching. Leave some comments below. We'll try to answer your questions, get back to you. Reach out to me on Twitter at MegaRuler31. Don't forget that you can sign up for at FSIDFS.com for a NASCAR package. Just subscribe and use the coupon code free NASCAR, and you can use that twice, and that'll give you all our content, also our cores, our sheets like this and everything. So thanks for watching. Give us a like, share the video, subscribe to our channel. Appreciate it, and good luck tonight. And it's great to have NASCAR back and you watching us.